Welcome to A Lot Going On with Architecture. In today's podcast, we are talking about one of the hottest cities and one of the hottest industries in that city, which is Dubai and real estate. And I can't wait to introduce you to a friend of mine who I spend a lot of time talking with outside the environment of this podcast. Today is the first time we're speaking together on record. It's actually also his first podcast too. So welcome to the show, co-founder of the Property.ae, Tom Fawcett.
Thank you, Raj. Thank you for having me. Excited to hit the ground running with the first podcast.
Yeah, how you feeling being up here today?
It's good. I've seen obviously a lot of you behind the lens, so I've been watching you for a couple of months. So I've just sort of preempting what to expect, but knowing you as a person, I know you'll throw a few curveballs, so that's always exciting.
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head there, because actually it is as a result of the time that we spend hanging out, going on shoots, talking, you obviously sharing a ton of education with me about the real estate industry here, that I was like, you should probably get this on record. But the reason why I wanted to have this conversation is not just because you being in real estate, there's obviously a ton of opinion out there about the market, but you've got this multi-hyphenated real estate specialist agency, and it works. It's got multiple awards, the Property.ae, and multiple verticals within there. So I'm really curious to break down that and that ecosystem that you've built, from selling properties like that traditional brokerage right through to snagging and property management. We're going to get into all that in just a moment. But I think for context, what I want to know, and we've not gone deep in this conversation in our real life, is a little bit about your background and where you've come from. So friendly northern accent means we're already besties.
Of course.
But tell me about kind of like your journey, where you grew up, when your professional career started, and how you end up here.
Good question. Long question. Basically, I started off very traditional, so I was very fortunate to have great parents. I grew up in a self-employed family. My father, who's still working today, who's got a great work ethic, he's been in the clothing industry, so we've always been surrounded by, let's say, a sales environment. So he started when he was 16, 17 on the markets, grew up to a multi-range of clothing shops selling designer menswear. So all through my life, I think I've been in and out of sales, entrepreneurship, understanding, learning from him. He was my mentor basically in business and also life. But I also went down the traditional route of school, A levels, university. So I actually I graduated and I got a master's in marketing. So that is where I originally started out. So I was always excited and wanted to learn about how the level of attraction, how attraction works, how do you entice somebody in to buy something, and that process of marketing a product, a service, whatever it may be. So I went to university, learned my ropes there, I would say.
Which university were you at?
Leeds.
Oh, amazing.
A northerner always stays north, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I wanted to stay close to home because I was doing other things at the time. I was competing in motorsport at an international level, so I was doing a lot of traveling. That's where I think a lot of my competitiveness came. When I started doing that as a high-level sport, so that taught me how to be competitive and got me going into really wanting the grit of what it takes to be successful in, not just in business, but I think in life. You need a certain level of competitive streak within you that you needs to proceed.
Yeah, so not just cross the finishing line, but cross it first.
Of course. I think that is my motto, and especially as I've got older, I've started to realise that is what you need to take your business or your personal life, especially in Dubai, to the next level. We're in a very, very competitive market in Dubai. Everybody's looking for the next thing. Everybody wants the next best thing. So I think if you're not at that competitive edge, it's going to be difficult. But yeah, back to that. So I went to university, did a placement down in Swindon, the south of England, not far from London, and then more or less went straight to Dubai after that. I didn't really have much stopgap. So I've been in Dubai 10 years, started off in marketing, ended up marketing in a real estate agency, understanding how lead gen works. We were doing a lot of property management in the previous company. So that really got me into the real estate side. I've always had an interest in real estate. We've got a bit of a portfolio of houses at home, family portfolio. So I've always had a bit of an interest. Obviously, back in 2015, 14, when I first came to Dubai, the market was on an upwards move then. So that got me interested. And then obviously started doing lead gen. Back then, the brokers were not good in the business, so they were complaining about the quality of leads, like a lot of people still do now. So I thought, you know what? I know how to sell. I've been on the shop floor with my dad. I'm great at customer service, personable. The northern accent kicks in a little bit as well. That helps. So I started then getting on the phones and starting to see what I could do. And And that's really led from one thing to another. So then we grew from there, really, learnt the ropes.
So you went from the north of England Leeds to the Middle East Leeds, real estate Leeds, right?
Yeah.
There's a nice parallel there. Tell me about your father's business. He was in designer menswear?
So designer menswear, yeah. So we had multiple brands under one roof, like Ralph Lauren, all these kind of Hugo Boss, all these brands under one roof. So we had multiple shops across Yorkshire. I was obviously there as a kid learning the ropes on how to sell, how to greet, meet and greet, general meet and greet. I think that is one of the things that really stands you in good stead for any business. If you've got the personable skill to meet and talk to anybody, which I think you need, especially in Dubai, that really kicks off. So yeah, I was on the shop floor learning the ropes from my dad, who's an exceptional salesman, and that started from there. So then from a bit of work experience in the shops, obviously went and did my own thing, went to university. My father was very much an advocate for being educated, whether you think that's right or wrong. But he wanted me to go to university. He sort of understood that from when he started, when he was 17, 18, another 30 years on, things are not as easy just to kick-start a business and get going as they were then. So he was very much get into education, have something to fall back on, learn your trade, and then start exploring other avenues as and when you find them. So that, I think, was a good starting point in my life to really get going.
So when we look at your business now, the Property.ae, you've got multi-brands there as well, right? You could walk into your father's store 20 years ago and pick up Ralph Lauren, Gucci, Armani. You can walk into your business today and pick up Maras, Emar, Nikhil. And service sits at the middle of all of it, right? Is there anything that your dad taught you about service that remains true? It's so important to you today that maybe that's how you pass that knowledge down to your staff?
Great question. I've got the answer, yeah. So give you a real life example. My dad always said to me, if you get a customer in the shop, they go and try a pair of £200 jeans on, and you know we want to sell them something, right? You don't want to lose the customer and leave them without a sale. But if they come out and them jeans look shit, tell them. Because the moment you back them into them jeans and they go down to the pub on the Friday night with their friends and they're stood at the bar and they've got a shit pair of jeans on, the first thing the mates are going to say is, who sold you them?
Yeah.
So when that customer comes out, say, they're not right for you, take them off, let's go again and start again.
Yeah.
And that basically, in simple terms, relays back to real estate, right? If someone comes to me and they say, I really want to buy this, want to buy this, want to buy this, and I say, listen, I don't think this is right for you for X, Y, and Z reasons, they don't fit right, maybe they're a bit too expensive, relaying it back to the gene situation, then yeah, sales is all that. So honesty and trustworthiness is some of the staple things that you've got to have in any sales role, especially in real estate. Our business is built on repeat custom, same like it was when we were sold jeans, right? So if you lie to someone, you're soon exposed. So yeah, that was a good look back.
When did you first identify a high value customer, and what makes your spider senses go off where you're like, yeah, I'm dealing with somebody here who's a discerning customer?
I think my motto to learn how to speak to them and first engage with them is that respect isn't given, it's earned. So you've got to prove yourself in that sort of level. And when you start surrounding yourself around these sort of people, you soon pick up on how they work, how they operate, how they want to speak to you. And in fact, it's probably easier. Everyone comes to Dubai and wants to meet the next golden egg, the next multi-millionaire that's got millions to spend. Invest and you're going to make you super rich. It's not always the case. You've got to start somewhere, right? You learn a lot along the journey. You make mistakes and you might pick up a smaller client, but a smaller client's equally as important as someone who's worth 200, 500 million. We deal with all a full range of people in terms of wealth categories. So it's not that we speak to anybody different. And in fact, generally what I've found is that the wealthier people never really show that they're wealthy. They want to gauge who you are, how you interact with them, how you speak to them, what you speak about. They want to gauge. It's not only on your experience sometimes, actually, by the way. They like to buy from people that they like, right? If they don't, experience, of course, does come into play. Don't get me wrong, you've got to have some knowledge. You've got to understand your product and what you're talking about. But a lot of it is personal relationships. I've hit it off with people that are first-time buyers. I've hit it off with people that are worth upwards of $1 billion, right? So having that, back to the original story, having that initial meet and greet and being able to speak to anybody on any level, I think is a trait that anyone should have if they're going to do any job, especially in our industry where we're dealing with some certain categories that are in that sort of wealth bracket. meet and greet, being able to speak honestly, proudly, be confident, I think is the first point of what you need to do. People say, oh, fake it till you make it. I'm not a big believer in that whatsoever. Maybe it's worked for some people, but if you're just grounded, sensible, honest, trustworthy, and most of all polite, I think manners cost nothing.
I'm big on that. I think my highest ROI from a soft skills point of view has always been please and thank you.
Of course, if you can't, they're free, right?
Yeah.
It's the one thing in life that's for free.
Yeah.
If you can't say please and thank you, then you can have a problem.
Yeah. Is that something that can be taught, do you think? Because, you know, there's an argument that there's a talent war going on right now in the UAE when it comes to hiring good quality, consultative sales, real estate agents. Is that something that can be taught? And how are you addressing this talent war? Because it's kind of a ubiquitous conversation amongst like founder, owner level guys and girls like yourself.
I don't think there's some fundamental traits that can't be taught, right? I think manners is instilled in you from a young age when you've been brought up, teenage years, even younger. I mean, you and me, I would say we're quite polite people.
Yeah, both shopkeepers' sons.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And can you think back to ever not being polite? I can remember if I'd never said please or thank you at the end of a sentence, I'd get a clip round the ear hole. Right. So I think it's instilled. Yes, you can teach people a basic skill set, but when you're in a very client-facing role like real estate is, you don't want to sound like you're reading from a script. You want some sincerity in what you're saying. And I think that is soon picked up on because I receive messages all the time from brokers every day of the week, 55 calls a day. Some days it's ridiculous. And you know the people that have instantly got a connection, right? Some people are on the phone, they know how to engage in a conversation. It's not easy to pick up a phone and try and pitch yourself to someone that's you've never spoken to before, like an elevator pitch, right? You would have in theatre. But yeah, you can teach a certain degree, but back to the talent war, I think good people always find good people. And it depends what you're looking for in a company. If you're a first time off the shelf, you want to come into real estate, there may be certain companies that are better for you, that put you through different training. We've had people through our office that have done 2 months of training in massive companies, and they've not even taught some of the basic things when they've come and down sat with us. So everyone has their own way. But I think in this industry, you've got to have the want and not be reliant on everybody else coming to you to learn. You can self-teach yourself a lot of things. I mean, I know how to build websites. I know how to do marketing. A lot of that wasn't done back in university days back then. Digital wasn't even a thing. When I came to Dubai, I've soon realised that, wow, there's hundreds of companies, now thousands. We're all competing over the same bit of product, right? So what we're going to do, how can I differentiate myself as an agent, right? Let me learn a bit more about marketing. Let me learn about digital ads. Went and took myself on a course, Google Ads, Facebook marketing, all that kind of thing. Right, we need to learn how to put ourselves online. Why do I want to be capped to, let's say, a property portal? How am I going to find a broader reach? Okay, I need to be online. I need to build a website. Right, how am I going to build a website? Okay, I'm going to get an agency. I'm going to spend 30, 40, 50,000 dirhams on an agency. I don't have that capital right now. So I taught myself, really did teach myself. And it took a long time to perfect it. But now I think, especially in my business, I'm still heavily involved in the marketing side and the hacking side, so lead gen. I'm very much into that, and especially the digital footprint of the business. I like to keep an eye on it with myself as well, but that's something of a personal hobby, obviously because of my background as well. But yeah, because
your background's an interesting one, because I was here at that time. I first came here 2013, 2014. I was living here 50% of the time until 2017 when I moved here full time, and at that time, age-wise, I'd have been late 30s, mid 30s.
Yeah,
there was. When I go out and about, when I was in the working world, when I was in the clubs and the bars, on any given month, you could probably count the number of 22-year-olds that I would meet, like biological 22 years of age on one hand in a month. There wasn't many around. You coming here in 2014 at 22 years old, you would have been an anomaly. Now, Dubai is like the hottest city in the world right now, and it is normal for a 22 or maybe 24-year-old to come
now,
here.
Isn't it, to come?
What advice would you give to a 22-year-old or 20, what advice would you give to somebody who's in their 20s that's landed in Dubai, that wants a slice of the Dubai dream and wants to do it through real estate? Maybe some of that is what you would tell yourself at 22, or maybe something that would be like modern advice.
Do your research before you even come. Understand what the market is. A lot of stuff online is sold a dream that you can come to Dubai, earn 6 figures. Yes, it's possible, but it's not that you land on a desk, a company comes over and floods you with clients, floods you with everything else, and you're going to start earning that kind of money. Understand the skill set that's required to become successful. When you speak to recruiters, maybe agencies, speaking to someone like myself, company owners, ask them the question. It's not always the company that's asking you. You should be asking them.
So what would it be? Like if I'm that guy, if we role play this out and I'm like, okay, you know, I'm over here on holiday, really, I'm not thinking about doing a graduate scheme or, you know, doing the normal mid-20s thing. Really, what skills do I need? Like, how long is it going to take me to make a sale? I'm sure that's somebody who's a commercially minded young person would probably be like, okay, I get it. I'll come out. I understand that real estate is commission only. But realistically, how long before I make a kill and I taste blood?
Realistically, 6 months. I always say to people, and people will say less, and it can happen in less, and that's fantastic if it does. But I would say 6 months, because there's a lot to learn. To get your feet on the ground, first of all, get set up. You're still exploring Dubai. You may not be as focused as you should be. Obviously, we try and minimize that period to make sure that you do get to Dubai and you do get on the ground and get your feet under the table and start working. But naturally, if you're 22 years old, you're going to want to go out and explore a little bit. You've moved to a new city, new country. It's a big thing and it's nice, but always keep grounded to the fact that you are here to work. Don't come, spend all your savings in a month and then go, oh my God, I'm desperate to make a sale, because people who are always desperate to make a sale, the client can always tell you're desperate to make a sale for one, and generally that makes it the period even longer. But I think what we look for is, first of all, grounded work ethic. You don't necessarily have to have a sales background. Again, back to the fact that if you've got good personable skills that you can meet and greet, you can talk to people, if you can maintain a good conversation and understand people, who you're talking to, I think that is 80% of the game. I think you talk.
So if you're talking about someone like ex-hospitality, ex-retail.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people come over, they've been used car dealers. I mean, yeah, that's a great picture to paint. I'm a used car dealer, gift of the gab, all that kind of thing. That can work as well, but it depends where you want to position yourself as well, right? I mean, do you want to go down the I'm a wheeler dealer kind of guy, or do you want to picture yourself as, no, I'm professional, ultra professional, this is my bracket, this is my target audience, and this is where I want to achieve, this is where I want to go. If you want to go and sell smaller properties, JVC, million dirhams, 2 million dirhams, 3 million dirhams, or I don't want to put myself on the Palm. Is that my target? I want to be in Emirates Hills, want to be in Palm Jumeirah, selling that level of house. Of course, everybody does. But have a target, learn your ropes, and then target yourself to move up the ranks. But along the way, you will learn what it takes to do that, which is hard work, dedication.
Yeah.
But you've got to have some fundamentals. If you get on a call, I've interviewed people, get on a call and they're shy and they don't dare talk. I never interview, so when I interview someone, I always put the CV to one side. I say, turn that over. Tell me, Raj, tell me who you are, what you're about. Let's go from there. Then we'll look at your skill sets. Going to university isn't a massive plus point for when you're in a sales role in Dubai.
Yeah.
And for me, I don't think university is a massive one anyway anymore. But I think if you've got basics, like I look for, and you can feel it in someone. Someone comes on the phone, they're energetic and they're hungry. They've got that hunger and they're determined. Also, if you've got to be, competitiveness comes back to that as well, what I spoke about earlier. You've got to be competitive when you're in Dubai, because it's a hungry place. It's a shark tank, right? There's always someone nibbling at your heels. There's always someone that you can look up to and say, listen, they're doing better than me. There's always levels to grow. Whatever level you're at in Dubai, there's always another step up. And that's the beauty of the place, right? That's why the place is moving. It's hungry. People are ready to make money. People who want to make money. It's not all about money either. It's just you're in a fast-paced environment. If I go back home, Manchester, Leeds, whatever, you speak to people that you've gone to school with, oh yeah, what you doing? Oh, it's all right. Complaining about, the market shit here.
Yeah.
The economy's not moving. It's all doom and gloom. Yeah, we're ticking over. Then you come to Dubai, people are like, boom, 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 boom. What's happening? I love that.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's not for everybody, right? But for me, I enjoy that environment. Maybe not for the next, maybe not want to retire in that environment, but for now, for business-wise, it's a very, very exciting place to be. And I mean, back to real estate, I mean, if you can't make money in today's market, I don't think you'll ever make money in Dubai.
Right. You'll
Just
never
look
make
at the
it.
transactions. We're on record transactions year on year, volume, value, year on year. Things are happening. I say it to the team all the time. Don't take these days for granted. Don't sit here in 3 years, 4 or 5 years time when the market is not as high volume, as fast paced, and go, wow, look back there. They were the golden days of Dubai. They were the golden moments in real estate. Do not take them for granted. Make it happen today.
Yeah.
Make it happen today. And we have one rule in our office. It's never we'll do that tomorrow. Make it happen today. It's not a JFT. It's not a job for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Today, get it done. Get it done.
It's yeah, I think I would agree with you from the perspective of like, I think for anybody who's early in their relationship with their future career, if you come to Dubai right now and you don't act on it, it will be the one that got away. Do you know what I mean? It will be like
in any industry, I think. In any industry.
Yeah. I mean, I always tell people like the story, like I first went to New York City in 1999. Twin Towers were still up. It was like, you know, the great America that I think a lot of people talk about wanting to go back to. I moved to London in 2005 and saw that 05 to 08 pre-recession era. And neither of them compared to what we see in Dubai. In fact, you could put 90s New York and 05 London in a pot, 10x it, and that's still a quiet day in Dubai. Like, it's just booming here at the moment.
Like what we were saying in the car the other day when you were saying, like, if you're growing up in Dubai now, like our young kids and whatever, we'll probably never see this happening again to a country or a city, the level of growth that we're going through now. I mean, you explained it better than what I did.
It's a once in a generation moment economically, yeah. You're never going to see so much demand for basically everything. I mean, you could land here and be like, I can set up your Gmail account, and somebody's going to buy it, either because they don't know how to do it, or they know how to do it, but they just don't have the time because they themselves are working on something which is more high value to them.
Yeah, but I think even just as an economy, as a country is growing, like this country is fairly new, right? It's in its infancy, but I mean, to see this growth, expansion, where else? London's not going to go like this again. London's done, right? For hundreds of thousands of years, I mean, it's been growing. But Dubai now, in this short space of time, what you're witnessing, I think, will be like history. Like in 50 years' time, when we're granddads and whatever else, we'll probably look back at this podcast and say, remember when we said that?
Yeah.
And say, look at where Dubai is now. So it's a very special time.
It's interesting because you can guarantee that's going to happen, because if you go back to England today, people won't believe you. So if you're that old granddad who's like, oh, you know, in 2025, I was in Dubai and it was like this, they'll be like, all right, granddad, take a seat, have some milk. But that's guaranteed to happen, because even if you just go outside Dubai right now and tell people what's going on here, they just can't get their head around it. So I think that's a good take. Now, you mentioned as well, like, you know, it's a competitive market and people are always on your heels. And there's always someone like biting on your heels trying to get to where you are. And you were also quite self-aware enough and humble enough, I think, in that moment to say that there's also people that are ahead of you. You're about 3-4 months into your content journey right now. You are doing that long race. Is there anybody who you look up to that you think, yeah, those people are doing a good job, or anybody that inspired you to kind of take action and start building your personal brand?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm probably late to the party, even considering I've got a marketing degree, but the reason we're late to this sort of content and this media journey that we're going on is because we've been so engrossed in running the business and making sure the business has got its fundamentals right. So from a marketing perspective, it's not only about doing this for sales, it's about meeting the people behind the company, right? We're a piece of paper, we're a license. Yes, we've got an office. You can come and meet us and whatever, but a lot of transactions are done over the phone nowadays, especially in Dubai, WhatsApp, it's all over Google Meet. I think, yeah, I know, back to your original question, yes, there's other people, not only in real estate, there's other content people in loads of different industries that I look at and go, you know what, if I'm ever out to buy a car or whatever it may be, a holiday, I'll speak to that person. Subconsciously, you watch that person, you go, you know what, I like you. I like what you're doing, I like the content you're giving, I like the information you're giving, the education that you're giving. You subconsciously want to give back. So we want to educate people. There's millions of people on content for Dubai real estate. Some people are right, some people are wrong, some people you can make whatever you want. But our journey is about education to what we think is the right thing to show people. And I think back to the UK journey, I think I was with Property Finder this morning, one of the largest, the number one portal in Dubai. Their leads overseas, apart from the UAE, the highest number of lead volume is coming from the UK, which is like, wow. And I mean, I have this call maybe 3-4 times a week with people that are thinking to move to Dubai, they don't know where to start in their property journey. They don't know where to start in terms of transitioning their business. So I think a lot of this content is to help serve them people. So when we can say to them, have a look at some of our content. If they see our content, they can be 50, 60, 70% aware of the processes and how it works before they even get on a call for us. That doesn't mean that we don't want to speak to them, obviously. It's just try and give something back to them, because we go on the call, the call is always the same. Like, what's the Dubai market? What's the processes? What's the two sides of the market, primary, secondary? Where do you think the market's going? X, Y, Z. So this call is always about the same sort of thing when you're speaking to that particular client in that sort of, let's say, that in that box that we've got, that people are moving over here. So yeah, our content is all about education, I think, is the main thing. It's just to give something back. And yes, if something comes of it, hopefully we will generate business off it. That's a long-term goal, but I mean, content's not generated overnight, and Rome was not built in a day. So
yeah, it's a good point. And to your thing about like Rome, like you think about like the Colosseum, right, and chariots and horses. I think me and you are in a similar position, which is that when I've been building businesses and brands for the last 25 years, at the beginning it'd be like the CEO sat on a chariot, one horse. Like you've got one horse pulling your chariot forward. Now, in my business, I've got creative content agency, I've got the ALGO podcast, I've got My Friends, Your Friends, I've got Undeniable Social Proof, 4 horses, 1 cart. I'm interested to see how you deal with this, and this is a conversation that me and you haven't had yet, but you've got 3 horses attached to your cart, right? You've got the brokerage, you've got property management, and you've got snagging. How do you divide your time? Of course, you've got a leadership team and a co-founder in Ramal Patel, but like, when you wake up in the morning, do you think, okay, this is where my priorities are going to go today? Or do you have like a medium-term plan that you execute? Because it is tricky, but I think more and more founders today, modern founders, they're not doing one horse, one cart. They're kind of coming with like a portfolio approach to be successful in the market.
I think, yeah, the background of that is that when we set up this business, and why we initially went into business, was to really try and provide our clients with a full life cycle of services. And we've got different pillars of the business which supports that. So we can help you from the initial buying stage. If you're a first-time buyer, if you're looking to buy, if you're an investor, you want to buy something off plan, all the way through to handover, property management. So we wanted to basically issue it. Like when you go and buy a bond from a bank, you don't go around 55 different banks speaking to 55 different advisors. You go there, I want to buy this bond, and I'm going to get a report at the end of every quarter and how this bond's performing, whatever it may be. And that's what we want to do. We want to do that, but with bricks and mortar, which is real estate. So you want to come and invest in a portfolio. You then need someone to manage it for you. You then need someone to hand over. You may not live in Dubai. You need someone on the ground that's reliable, and you want to get your report at the end of it. And I think what we really wanted to encapsulate was all of them services into one roof. So part of that is then 3 other divisions that service that life cycle of the client. They buy, everything is with us. So that is the whole point, that we don't want to go, you buy a car from Mercedes, you then don't go to BMW to service it, you don't go to another garage, you get the full service under one roof. So that's what we really tried to do, and make it as seamless as possible, make it enjoyable, because at the end of the day, I always say this to our team, like a real estate purchase is one of, if not the biggest investment someone will ever make financially. So part of that is to make it actually an enjoyable journey, because sometimes it can be very transactional. I've seen people, you go and do a viewing, and you get a mortgage, and you go and do a transfer in an office. It's a cold office, not very nice. So no, we do things a little bit different. We'll take you to the right trustee. When you hand over, it's an enjoyable time, right? And then when I bought my first property in Dubai, I wanted to make it nice, or even for myself. And when you leave, when I did that, because I was doing real estate before I bought my first property, right? Then I learned a lot from that experience, even for myself. Going, wow, I want my clients to enjoy this a little bit more, because it is very transactional. I'm going to buy here, buy there. Yes, when you're buying, it's an exciting time. When you're selling, hopefully it's an even more exciting time, right? Because hopefully you come out in a better place. So yeah, we really wanted to make an experience rather than just a transaction.
How's the transition been for you from broker to brokerage owner, founder? Like, what was that transition like for you?
Pretty seamless, really, because not always, you got to look at it, good brokers don't always make good managers, don't always make good business owners. So trying to get all 3 of them together is challenging, like any any company owner will find. I mean, they're maybe not strong in marketing, they may not be strong in finance. So I think it's.
Do you think you were maybe always then just a closet business owner who was just temporarily cross-dressing as a broker until it was time to come out of the closet and own the business?
I've always been entrepreneurial for sure, so I always wanted to do my own thing and have my own business. I think that's just come from family history and how I've been brought up. I always wanted to have that, but you've got to identify where you're weak, right? Like for me, I don't know anything about accounting. I know the basics. That's a weak point for me. So you've got to have someone right in that position to make sure that department runs. Marketing, I'm very strong. Sales, I'm very strong. So from the sales side, looking after the brokers, people management, I'm trying to always improve my people management skills, which is an art as well. Looking after people, making sure you're getting the most out of them, making sure they're optimized is the fundamental to our brokerage success, right? Where I'm lucky to have Ramal, my business partner. She has very good strong points where I'm weak. So we sort of try and balance that shift, say, right, you're better than this than me, you run with that idea, you run with that department. So that's where we try and identify. You're always learning, right? Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah, and I'm glad, and I think this has been a really cool podcast because this is pretty much exactly how we talk, you know, when we're shooting for your content. But I think a good place to end as a final question would be what I've learned from today's chat, right? Which is that it's funny how like night follows day, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Your dad is entrepreneurial and a business owner. You've become one. He was dealing with high net worth discerning clients. You are dealing with high net worth discerning clients. He built a property portfolio. You've now got a property portfolio of your own here in the UAE. You've got skin in the game. If you could summarize the impact that your dad's had on you and explain it to him, what would you say to him right now, being that you've got to where you've got to?
It's funny because we have this conversation every time we sort of meet up, and he never gave me any financing to start this business. Everything I've done is from my own back, from my own pocket. And it was the same for him. So he's very hard on me in that fact. And one of the golden rules that he said to me, he said, son, the one thing I've given you is the tools you need to do the job. Now go and do it. And then when I thought at the time, and I digested that later on, I'm thinking, he's absolutely right in that regard, because he has taught me everything I need. He's taught me the value of money. He's taught me how to build a business, not directly, but I've watched and observed over the years. He's taught me how to be around people, how to speak to people, the fundamental basics, but in a good way. And I think, yeah, you're absolutely right. You've given me the tools, now go and do it. Anything's possible for anybody, right? That doesn't mean to sound patronizing, because everyone says anyone can do it if you put your mind to it. But I think if you actually do a little bit, you can do it. And then if you've got the right background and you've been taught the right lessons, then you can. And I did it. It took me longer than I wanted to. I probably became an entrepreneur a little bit late, but I was in a new country. It was like starting again, right? You got to learn these things. So, but yeah, he gave me the tools and I utilized them tools, I would say. But yeah, a massive part. Without that, I don't think would have been a little more difficult.
Yeah. Shout out to Mr. Fawcett Senior.
Yeah. What about you? Where's your tools come from?
I think just my dad had to be a chameleon when he was in the shop.
Yeah.
So when working class people would come in, he'd be a certain way with them, let them take a week's worth of shopping and pay when they get paid cash on a Friday at the factory. When the policeman came in, he'd be a certain way with him. When he went to see the bank manager, he'd be a certain way. I think just the diversity and the elasticity of personality to meet people where they are, I think that was probably the number one skill that he gave me, which at the time, watching him do it was a bit cringe. People used to call my dad Phil. His name's Dilip. But
right.
White people in the 80s that are not used to those names would just call him Philip.
Yeah.
And that used to really rile me up, especially when you listen to like Public Enemy and all this Black Power stuff. You're like, hang on a second, we should be respected for who we are. But then you realize later on, actually, it's just a temporary thing that you got to get through. So yeah, no, big shout out to our dads, man. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. I'm sure we'll do this again.
Yeah,
and
enjoyed
it's been super insightful. I've actually got a ton more questions, but we'll come back to it because we hang out plenty. Tom Fawcett, thanks so much for coming on the show. If people want to get in contact with you, Instagram, email, website, where should they go? Just read them out and we'll link them up below.
Yeah, the website's probably the main thing, the Property.ae. Very straight to the point, easy. You can submit a form there or whatever. You can look at us on Instagram. My Instagram handle, you know very well, is at Tom Fawcett.
Yeah.
So yeah, anything is easy to reach out to us and we can go from there.
Thanks for taking the time, Tom.
Thank you, mate.